Abigail here from Evening Star Astrology. I hope you're all doing well today. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for coming to another video of mine. Today I have your predictions for the year of 2021. I'm not going to say the cliche, I can't believe 2021 is almost here, but we are about to kind of turn a new leaf, and I hope that this reading can kind of give you some inspiration for what's to come in the year ahead, where you should focus your energy, etc. And as always, I just want to remind you that this reading is giving information and giving advice and predictions based on where you currently are and the energy that you are currently giving out into the world. But you have free will. If there is something you hear in this reading that you do not like, you are able to change your future. This is not set in stone. Or if you like what you hear, just keep doing what you're doing, and this will be the future that unfolds in the year ahead. So without further ado, let's just hop on into the reading. I'll explain how to pick the cards in just a second, but basically the way this works is once you've picked the pile that you resonate with the most, the one that your intuition is pulling you towards, you'll go down to the description box below where I will have timestamps for each of the specific readings, so you can find a message that is more personal for you. And so now to pick the cards, at this moment I invite you to take several deep, grounding breaths, really bringing yourself into this present moment, tapping into your intuition, and just really connecting with yourself for a moment. You can pick the cards based on the number of the pile, based on the crystal on top, or maybe there's just one pile that your intuition is guiding you towards. So over here I have pile number 1 with some moonstone, pile number 2 with some rose quartz, and pile number 3 with some orange calcite. Again, piles number 1, 2, and 3. And take all the time you need to pick. Once you do, you can head down to the description box below where there will be a timestamp for each of the readings, and you can skip ahead to the message that you have picked for today. I will see you at your reading. Hello, pile number 1. If you picked the cards with the moonstone on top, this reading is for you. All right, pile number 1. So 2021 for you, based on what I'm seeing right off the bat, is there's going to be an emphasis on relationships, of kind of making decisions that strengthen your commitments, and really tapping into your intuition and using that to guide your life in more ways than you have previously. Starting off with the last point I made about intuition, obviously we have the Moon card, which is all about intuition, trusting our inner vision, kind of letting external illusions fall away so that we are more aware of what's inside our minds and what's the best for our truest selves on that level. And we also have the Temperance card, which is all about alchemy. And alchemy not so much in the sense of mixing different ingredients, but rather taking your internal landscape, your inner thoughts, feelings, desires, etc., and mixing those with your external circumstances, where you live, who you live with, the people you surround yourself with, your job, and using those and mixing them together so that you create the life that you want to live that best serves you. And this could always mean change of some sort. However, I don't see you making any drastic changes. Like, I don't see you quitting your job and moving across the country or breaking up with your long-term romantic partner or anything, but more so kind of deepening what is already there. And by default, when you solidify certain things in your life, it kind of lets other things fall by the wayside, if that makes any sense. So in 2021, I really see you letting your intuition kind of guide your decisions a bit more, and perhaps on a very internal level, learning to trust your intuition and not suppressing it. Instead, when it comes up, actually being able to recognize it and respect it. Now, going to the deepening of commitments, we have the Two of Cups and the Two of Wands. And the Cups usually rules relationships, romance, friendship, family, and emotions. And the Wands represent career, creativity, and romance. And the number 2 is often related to a pair, balance, and instead of just having the one, the solo, which is you, you're kind of creating a balance. You're creating an other, a counterweight. And this could mean the beginning of a new relationship. It could also mean the solidifying of a relationship. If you and someone else have kind of been talking for a while, in 2021, you may become an official couple. Or, you know, if you're already dating, you could become engaged this year. But even if it's not in that official sense of like adding a new title to your relationship, I see this year you are really strengthening the connection with the people in your life, or strengthening your relationship to your career, or to your creativity, or to your higher goals. But in some way, you're taking it from the novice level of a very like selfish, and I don't mean that in a bad way, just like you're thinking about yourself and how it impacts you. And with these two cards, you're taking your like life purpose, I guess, or your outlook on life, and it's expanding beyond the self because now you have someone else or something else to consider. For example, if you are becoming more serious or more committed to a relationship, you might not prioritize work as much anymore. And not in like a bad way of like forgetting about work or ignoring your responsibilities, but more so thinking about how does it impact my partner when I work long hours. That's just one example. And again, these two cards could also be you deepening your creativity, deepening your commitment to yourself and self-expression, or your commitment to your career. But in some way, I feel like you are showing up more presently and more intentionally to the relationships, the careers, and creative projects in your life. And then we move to the Knight of Cups right in the middle here. And the Knight of Cups is super idealistic, romantic, and loving. And so for those of you who aren't already in a relationship, I see you entering one in 2021. And if you do start a relationship next to the moon here, I feel like it's someone who is really going to match or at least understand you on a more emotional and psychic level. And rather than just someone who checks off the boxes in a very literal way of like, oh, I'm vegan and this person is also vegan, or I follow this religion and this person follows this religion, we must have a ton in common. It's someone who actually understands who you truly are, your fears, your desires, etc. The Knight of Cups is also just about creativity and love. And so this year I see you like giving more love to others. With the moon, like I said, you're getting more in touch with your intuition, your inner landscape, kind of getting a greater sense of who you are and like, I don't know, just getting to know yourself better. And I feel like when you have that self-knowing and that self-love, it's easier to give love to others. And so this year I see you sharing a lot of love in the world. So that's what I see in the tarot cards for you so far. Just a quick recap: deepening of relationships, a greater commitment, or like actually diving into a career or a passion project, and also creating an external world that supports and encourages you to tap into your intuition and your inner self, and doesn't force you to compromise on who you are. Our next cards for this reading are from my Goddess Oracle deck. We have Artemis of Focus, Green Terra, who is about salvation, and Maya about illusion. So starting out with Artemis, this card is number 4, and in numerology, the number 4 is about security, building a foundation, and building a stable base, so that everything can grow from that. And Artemis is known for her bow and arrow. The thing about archers is that there's a certain precision and focus. And so as you go through this year, as you're deepening commitments to your career or to relationships, or even deepening your commitment to get to know yourself better, this card is reminding you that you need to have a certain focus. Sometimes when we're planning goals, especially at the beginning of a new year, there's a lot of inspiration in the air and there's all this motivation to completely transform your life and set all of these goals of things that you've always wanted to do. And unfortunately, because of this optimism that many people approach New Year's resolutions with, these goals are abandoned by the end of January or end of February at the latest. It can be really easy to look at your life and say, I want to change all of these things at once. I want to, fix my physical health. I want to fix my mental health. I want to improve my career life. I want to improve my romantic life. I want to have more time for myself. I want to have more time for family and friends. And there aren't enough hours in the day to do that, and change is hard. And so what I'm getting at with this here is that Artemis wants you to focus in on a couple of very specific goals for 2021. I feel like you have this energy and this potential that you're approaching the new year with. Maybe 2020 wasn't your year like it hasn't been for many people, and you want to rewrite the entire script. However, Artemis is saying pick a few things and focus on those, and not only focus on them, but do a lot of planning. For example, let's say that you want to deepen your relationship or you want to start a new relationship. Make time each day to prioritize this. If you're already with a partner, how can you deepen that relationship with them? What activities can you do together? What dates can you do together? How can you be a better partner? How can you express your needs better so that they can be a better partner to you? What I'm getting at with this is you have a lot of potential, but that potential will be best used if you can set very specific goals and focus in on a few things rather than trying to accomplish everything this year. And then next we come to Green Terra, who is a Tibetan goddess, also known as She Who Saves. And Green Terra is really about community and making sure that you are surrounded by people who love you and support you, which I think is so beautiful because you have the Two of Cups, which indicates strengthening a relationship with a partner or gaining a new partner, whether that's a romantic partner, a lover, a career partner, whatever. And then the Knight of Cups also signifies this kind of pure, almost naive love and trust. And Green Terra is really supporting that message and letting you know that this year you will be loved and supported, and you will be surrounded by love, and it may not always be in the way that you think. And Green Terra also wants to signify that you don't necessarily need to push or force a community. It will grow naturally. I think a lot of people have preconceived notions of, like, my friends will look like this, or my friends will act like this, or I will become really close with my work colleagues, or the people at my yoga studio, or whatever. However, you will find your community in the most random of places, and what's most important is that you just trust and know that they will be there for you. And a larger message I'm really getting from Green Terra and this reading in general, I feel like in the past you have been a very independent person, kind of, I can manage it all on myself. I don't need anyone else. I'm more than happy to just, do my own thing. And Green Terra and the rest of this reading is really saying that this year you're going to find your people and your community who make you feel supported, and it will be challenging to break down those barriers and learn how to let other people in and learn how to let others support you. However, once you do, and once you put that trust in the universe that everything will work out, you will be surrounded by the people who you're meant to be surrounded with, that's when your community will come together. And then finally we have Maya, who is a Hindu goddess of illusion. This card is so perfectly tied to the moon. The moon is about illusions falling apart, and just like the moon card, Maya is really here to encourage you to see things as they are, not the way that you want them to be. Again, it's very easy to build up these ideals or have these preconceived notions of this is the way the world works, this is how I'm going to find my romantic partner, this is my dream job, and this is how it's all going to pan out for me. However, things happen the way they do, and it's usually not in the way that we plan them. And so Maya really wants to take away that illusion. And this year, 2021, might not look as you had planned it would, especially coming out of 2020. Maya really just wants you to see things as they are and honestly face them head on. So instead of holding on to this idea of like, when the pandemic is over, my life will look like this. Once there's a vaccine and life goes back to normal, I can do this. Continue to see things as they are and be present with what is. And again, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of strength to follow the message of both of these cards, of tapping into your intuition and putting trust in the universe and other people. But I think that these are the main lessons you're going to be learning in 2020, of really seeing the world as it is, and at the same time having that hope and trust in the universe, kind of learning to balance those, which, temperance is all about balance as well, so look at that working out. Next, I have two cards from my Sufi Wisdom deck. We have Concealed Power and Trust Your Gut Feeling. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the Trust Your Gut Feeling, very obviously tied to the moon, very obviously tied to everything I've been saying this entire reading of putting trust in the universe while also listening to your intuition. And this card even says, let your heart lead you to who you are. And I think I've already said this pile number 1, but this year I really feel like you're going to be learning to trust others, to let other people into your life, to become more aware of balance and partnership, and move away from this narrative of I'm an independent person, I'm solo, I'm introverted, I don't need anyone else. And through this connection to other people, I feel like you're going to learn so much more about yourself. And so this card is reminding you to always come back to who you are and trust that, and at the same time allow yourself to grow and change. And so this year, this card is really encouraging you to trust in your intuition and really listen to yourself and just allow that to flow. And again, it may look very different than the story you've been telling yourself your entire life. You may discover that you have completely different interests than you thought, or that one thing that like always seemed kind of weird but you've always been attracted to, maybe that actually brings you a ton of joy. In either case, I really encourage you to trust your gut this year, trust your intuition, because it's really guiding you to be a better person on your own, and then be a better person when you show up for others in relationships and partnerships and just in the world in general. And then we have the Concealed Power card. And I feel like this card, it's really interesting. Everything else in this reading is pretty muted, except for like the Temperance card is a little bit brighter. And then this card is so vibrant. And I really see this as a visualization of who you're going to become once you kind of learn the lessons of this year. I feel like in some ways you are kind of tampered a little bit. Your shine is dimmed, if you will, because you have these lessons to learn this year. And for example, learning to trust in other people, learning to see things as they are, and then also learning to trust in your own intuition and your own inner guidance. And once you're able to kind of harness this power and deepen your commitments to others, deepen your commitment to yourself, and show up for others and yourself in that way, you are really going to like unleash this intense power. And I'm not talking power in like the very evil sense, but rather you have so much love to give, you have so much creativity and intelligence and kindness, and you are going to be able to give this power to others and to yourself, and it will just like expand outwards once you learn the lessons of this year. So I see this as something that will come later in the year perhaps. But yeah, this is just something to be aware of now, because although like these cards are all super gorgeous, there are lessons that are going to be learned this year, and learning to trust others, to let others in, it's a process. It's not always easy. And so I think that this Concealed Power card is a reminder and a good like goal to look forward to remember that you're going to have to push through and work through some challenging aspects. For example, we have the Moon card, and that can often signify shadow work or seeing deeper parts of ourselves that we may not necessarily like as much. And so once you do that shadow work and learning how to invite others into your life and all of that, and once you push through those challenging parts, there's this beautiful reward waiting on the other side. So just be aware that this is to come. Next, I have a couple of cards from my Inquire Within deck. Okay, this is like too perfect. We have Seeing Things for What They Are, which is obviously related to Maya of Illusion, Trusting Your Gut Feeling, and the Moon. Plant a Seed and Wait, and Staying Alive. Okay, so first with the Seeing Things for What They Are card, I've talked about this like multiple times throughout this reading, but I feel like illusions are going to be falling away for you in 2021, and you will no longer be able to sustain yourself on the stories and illusions that you've been telling yourself. And so I feel like that's a really important message to hear and remember and keep coming back to, seeing things for what they are. And this means like very literally like recognizing what is happening in the world around you and not like covering it up and pretending that it doesn't exist because it's challenging or painful or harmful. On a more like self-help and relational type of level, this simply means seeing things for what they are without creating new stories around them. So instead of, getting worked up when someone doesn't text you back and creating this story of they must not like me anymore, what did I say wrong, what did I do wrong, no one ever texts me back, this is why I've been single for so long, whatever. You can see how that thought process would spiral really quickly. And instead of allowing your mind, your monkey mind, to kind of get into this like chatter, take a second to pause and just observe it for what it is. This person hasn't texted me back. That's it. You don't need to create stories. It's okay to recognize your emotions around this, especially with the moon card and trusting your gut feeling and the other cards we've talked about a million times already. It's okay to feel things based on things as they are. However, this year I really encourage you to just sit with what is without creating a story to surround it. Next, we have the Plant a Seed and Wait card. This card really speaks to faith and trust, which, again, like I've been talking about in this reading, there's going to be a trust in your career and or a trust in the relationships in your life, whether that's like a one-on-one relationship or the love and support of a community. And this card is really reminding you that these things don't happen overnight. You're not going to wake up on January 1st, 2021 and immediately get promoted in your career and find the love of your life at the most romantic, opportune moment, or find your community instantly. These are the kind of things that take time to grow and develop. And this card wants to remind you that it's really important to take that first step, put yourself out there a little bit. If it's at your job, show an interest that maybe you would like to take on more responsibilities, or you would like a raise or whatever, or promotion or whatever. And in relationships, if you're interested in someone, plant that seed. However, understand that it will take time. So this card is really speaking to patience and trust in the universe, trust in divine timing, if you believe in that, or if not, just knowing that things do take time to develop and that's okay. And then finally, we have Staying Alive. I feel like a lot of the cards this year for you, pile number one, are very focused on growth and ambitions and, growing in career, growing in relationships, getting to know yourself better. And it almost sounds like a lot of work. And I feel like I'm tossing all these things at you like, remember this, don't do this, learn this lesson, trust, believe, blah, blah, blah. And all of those are very goal-oriented, ambitious things that will require work on your part. And with this card, Staying Alive, it's really just encouraging you to remember to be present with what is, and don't forget to enjoy life. Like, enjoy the experience of being alive as a human at this time, living on this planet, etc. And like I mentioned earlier in this video, the new year, like turning a fresh page, all of that, it brings about this sense of like, I have to be doing things, I need to set these goals, I need to work towards these goals. And it's a lot of focus on doing rather than being. And so this card, the message I'm getting from it is to remember to find joy this year and take time to simply just exist and just be present in the moment without creating other stories and without like rushing to make things happen. So take some time and just be still and be present with what is. And finally, to finish off this reading, I have 4 cards from my astrology deck. These are 4 different zodiac signs, and they will represent people in your life who may be significant this year, who have these signs in prominent placements in their chart, or these could be the 4 zodiac seasons this year that are the most significant for you. For example, if it's Capricorn, like Capricorn season will be a time of growth or otherwise important to you. So we have Capricorn, which, nice, my prediction skills are growing. Taurus, Libra, and Aquarius. It's really interesting that we have both of the Venus-ruled signs and both of the Saturn-ruled signs. A message I'm getting from that is that love and relationships and money will be big this year, but so will growth and creating stability and functionality in your life. So again, from December 21st, 2020 until February 18th or 19th, 2021, that's Capricorn and Aquarius season. That will be a very potent time for you. And then Taurus season is from April 20th until May 21st-ish. And then Libra season is from September 23rd until October 22nd or so. If you want to write down those dates, you can, and if not, like, you can find that out with a quick Google search. So those times of year will be more significant for you. And also people who have these placements, people with Capricorn, Aquarius, Taurus, or Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, will be prominent in your life this year. Maybe even the romantic partner that the tarot cards were signifying. And yeah, I think that's all for this reading. I hope that you have a wonderful 2021. Thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like and a comment. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye! Hello, pile number 2. If you picked the cards with the rose quartz on top, this reading is for you. Alright, pile number 2. So to start off, I just want to note that we have 3 major arcana cards. We have Strength, Justice, and the Empress. And major arcana cards tend to signify bigger life events or more ongoing themes, rather than the minor arcana, which tend to be more minor or passing events. So to start off, I really feel like this year is very dynamic for you. This year being 2021, coming right around the corner. So yeah, just to start off the reading on that note, 2021 will be a year that is transformative for you. And yeah, in some ways I feel like this might be a really defining year of your life. So to start off, we have the Ace of Pentacles. And like all Ace cards, this card signifies new beginnings, fresh opportunities, turning over a new leaf, and beginning anew. And since this is the Ace of Pentacles, this card signifies that in 2021, you will experience new beginnings in the realm of finances, or very practical matters in your career, or in very material realms. So this could be that you will start a new job in 2021. You might come into some new money, or you might find a new way to make money, or maybe you will like live somewhere else or change your lifestyle in some way that kind of sets a new tone for the year. Maybe you'll start a new diet, maybe you'll start a new fitness plan, but in some way I see you beginning something new this year that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the year. Again, in the financial, material, or physical, or potentially career realms. So new beginnings on that, which is very exciting after this year, which has felt quite stale. And then we move on to the Strength card. And this is one of my favorite cards in this deck in particular, because I think sometimes the word strength can invoke this idea of a very brute physical level of strength, or a certain level of force. Like kind of, just barging forward and pushing through to get what you want. But the Strength card is really about inner strength, inner reliance, and knowing your own power. So I feel like as you go through this year, pile number 2, you're going to get a greater appreciation and awareness for your internal strength, and you'll be able to set up better boundaries for yourself. Instead of kind of being like a doormat that everyone walks over, and I mean that in the most loving way, you will be able to say, actually, like, this is a boundary for me and I'm not willing to cross it. And in situations where you may have previously felt weak or unqualified, you're going to be able to tap into that power and, like, I want to surprise other people and yourself with this newfound strength. And then we move to the Four of Wands, and this is a really encouraging card, especially after the Ace of Pentacles, because the Four of Wands, like all other fours, signifies stability and foundation and security. And the Four of Wands is also a celebration. It's kind of like, celebrating that first big check from your new job, or like that first like encouraging moment in a new relationship. This is kind of like, yay, we've made it this far, like first checkpoint done. And so whatever this new project is that you're starting at the beginning of the year, whether it's related to health, money, physical or financial matters, or your job, towards the middle of the year, I feel like you're going to get this little celebration and recognition of like, congratulations, like your new business that you started is paying off, or this workout plan that you started is starting to like manifest in tangible, like material results. This card could also signify strengthening relationships in your life and creating a solid group of friends, or a solid romantic partner, or solid connections with your family that really support you. So while you're learning to support yourself, of course, with this Strength card, you have people to back you up as well, because that's very important as well, because no matter how strong you are, it's important to have people who you can turn to in times of need. So next we move to the Justice card. And while this can literally be like the justice that you think of like with judges in court and laying down the law. But this card is more so related to morals and values. What do you think is fair? What do you think is equitable or equal? And where do you draw your boundaries? I mentioned boundaries earlier with a strength card, and I feel like that's kind of a key word for you this year, of understanding yourself well enough to know where those boundaries need to be drawn, and being able to kind of lay down a firm line of, you know, this amount of time with other people is okay, but I need to ensure that I have my 2 hours to myself every single night. That's a non-negotiable. Or I can talk about this conversation, but once it comes over into something that's too personal for me, I stop talking about it and I make it clear that that is something I'm not okay with. And on a more internal level, I feel like this is a bit of reconciliation with some past experiences, and this could be forgiveness of others, forgiveness of yourself for ways that you've acted in the past, or more so just kind of closing those old doors. And when we think of justice, we think of judges. Their verdict is final, usually. And so it represents a kind of finality in things that have been weighing you down previously. And so I feel like this card, in the representation of your year ahead, pile number 2, is signifying that there are going to be certain things in your past that might come up, maybe in some sort of test type of format, like not like a test that you take in school, but like something built or designed to test you. And you will have to lay down with your new and improved moral and value set. I feel like this card, though, is representing the endings of things that have caused you turmoil in the past, because these cards signify so much growth this year. It's a bit of a 0 to hero type of thing, and not exclusively in a very external way that other people can see, but there's a lot of self-reliance and inner wisdom and strength that you will gain this year, that when these tests come to you and you're kind of forced to reckon with your past self or people you used to allow in your life or whatever, you have all these new skills and confidence within yourself to rely on. And then finally we have the Empress card, and this is always a positive card to receive in a reading, because the Empress is about growth and abundance, not being in a lack mindset, having everything you could need and more. And on a very like material financial level, this is a really, really positive card, pile number 2, because you have the Ace of Pentacles. Maybe you start investing in the stock market at the beginning of the year, maybe you start a new job or a new budgeting system. This mid-year checkpoint is like, yay, you're on the right path. And at the end of the year, you receive abundance, whether that's related to money potentially, or it could be like confidence that comes from within, like the Strength card, or just like self-love and love for others. Just like think of a lush garden growing. Like I feel like that's gonna be where you're at the end of the year. Like financially, you're gonna be good. Mental health-wise, you're gonna be good. Physical health-wise, you're gonna be good. Like relationships, like everything will be looking up for you at the end of the year, because you will have the self-love and the self-confidence that the Strength card gives you, and this sense of like self-knowledge and boundary setting and not like compromising yourself for anyone else, knowing like this is where I draw the line and this is where I don't. And within those restraints, I feel like you're gonna have a lot of growth that comes from that. So that's what I'm getting from the tarot cards. I feel like this could be a very dynamic and transformative year for you that ultimately ends with feelings of abundance and growth. The next cards I have are from my Goddess Oracle deck. We have Demeter, the Nurturer. Then we have Danu of Assurance, and then Gaia of Earth. And these cards all just fit so perfectly together, as most readings do. They just like perfectly fall into place. But I love the imagery of Gaia next to the Empress, because I consider the Empress to be of a very like physical nature. Like she's related to Venus, who is related to Taurus. The Empress just gives me this like very nature goddess living in an abundant garden, and Gaia is obviously Mother Earth. So first off, to get into the reading for real now, instead of just fangirling over how wonderfully this all works out, Demeter is the nurturer. She's very giving, she's very loving and very abundant, just like the Empress. However, this card to me is, especially with like the Justice card and the Strength card, like I mentioned, I feel like you're going to be going through some sort of transformation this year where you learn to rely on your inner strength and learn when and where to set boundaries. The Demeter card is really here to encourage you to nurture yourself. Sometimes the introspective journey of learning to rely on yourself and learning to set boundaries can harden you in a way and create this rigid sense of self of I don't need anyone else, I can rely on myself, I'm strong and independent, blah, 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 or these are my boundaries and I don't allow anyone to cross them, or whatever. And I really feel like Demeter is here to offer this kind of nurturing and soft side, reminding you that you can be strong and soft at the same time. And giving to others is just as important as giving to yourself. So this year, as you are kind of going through this dynamic and transformative time, make sure that you make time for yourself. Make sure you take time to take care of yourself. Listen to your own needs and, nourish yourself, nourishing your body, nourishing your mind, feeding yourself rich and nourishing foods, and moving your body in a way that's healthy and strengthening. But yeah, this card is really just here to encourage you to nurture yourself, to take care of yourself, and provide love and care for yourself. Yeah, that's gonna be super important for you this year. And next we have Danu, who is a Celtic goddess. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing her name. She is about assurance and confidence and fulfillment. And I've mentioned this multiple times, but because you have the Ace of Pentacles at the beginning of your reading, pile number 2, at the beginning of this year, you are going to be embarking on something new. And I know that everyone does at the beginning of a new year, or most people do anyway, with New Year's resolutions or goals or whatever you want to call them. And most people let them go by the end of January, and that's fine, it happens. But with you, pile number 2, I really see you actually growing and taking charge of these. Again, I feel like it's something very physical, very material, very practical. And this card of Danu is really, really reminding you to put a little bit of trust in the universe, trust that you're on the right path. She's assuring you that you are where you're meant to be. Also, this card is a little glimmer of hope in times when you may not feel all that confident. Even when you are on the right path, there are going to be days where you feel like you're not. There are going to be dry spells, there are going to be slip-ups, there are going to be moments where you are questioning yourself, questioning your own strength, questioning your moral code or the decisions that you've made up until this point. And this card is here to remind you that as you go through the year, if you feel at all like you're not on the right path or that you maybe want to give up, just keep going, just keep pushing through, rely on your inner strength because you do have a lot of it, and that will be enough to keep you going. So believe in yourself, believe in your goal, believe in your path. And then finally we have Gaia, who is Mother Earth, Earth Goddess, etc. And this card is simply here to remind you to stay grounded, stay present, and exist or be present with what is. This year with all these transformative events going on, all this kind of internal changes, the Strength is a card of development. Justice is a card of decisions, and through decisions you learn and grow and kind of refine who you are. And then the Empress is growth and abundance. And with these dynamic major arcana cards, I feel like it's kind of easy to get caught up in your head, caught up in setting goals and working towards those goals and having definitions and answers for everything, and also always feeling the need to act and go, go, go. And so Gaia is really here to remind you to take a moment to pause and be present, maybe spend more time in nature than you have previously, go outside, put your bare feet on the earth, do some grounding in that way. Or if you live in a city and it's not quite as easy to go outside and be present in nature, connect with nature in other ways. Eat whole, healthy foods that come right from the earth and absorb Gaia's energy in that way. Spend time listening to nature sounds and make sure you get enough fresh air each day. Basically, I'm going to keep Gaia's message short, but spend as much time in nature as you can, connect to it, and remember that that is a source of power and grounding and support for you as you go through this year. All right, up next I have 2 cards from my Sufi Wisdom deck. We have Slow Down to Relax and Drunk with Love. The Slow Down to Relax card is so perfect with what I was just saying about Gaia. This year, there are a lot of changes. It's a very eventful and dynamic year for you. With all of those changes and with this growth, it's even more important to take time to slow down and relax. I love that it says break to enjoy the beauty around you, because we have the Empress, who is about beauty and abundance, and Gaia, who is about earth, which is abundance, beauty. Like, nature is so incredible. And so this card, it's pretty self-explanatory, but take time to take breaks. Don't overwork yourself this year. You have a lot of goals and ambitions, and that is incredible, and they will manifest. But in order to bring those goals into fruition, you actually need to take time to slow down, and putting in more hours each day won't necessarily lead you to those goals any faster. They will happen in their own time, and you will be more productive at work or wherever your goals are if you allow yourself breaks. For example, with the Ace of Pentacles, as I mentioned earlier, you might be working out more this year. You might be, working really hard with a personal trainer. If you do that, it's more important to get enough sleep each night and allow your body that time to recover each night. And this could be also with careers, don't overwork yourself. Basically, just take time to slow down, relax, and not kind of halfway relaxing of oh, I'm going to go home, but I'm going to keep checking my work email when I get home. Setting boundaries of these are the hours you can reach me, and beyond that, I'm off the clock. I'm not available. We can talk tomorrow. And then we have drunk with love. And I'm not saying that relationships aren't a part of your life this year. The Four of Wands that we had earlier could indicate a new relationship or a new friendship or a new family member. However, I really see this drunk with love card as drunk on love for yourself. With the growth that you're doing this year, I feel like nurturing yourself is going to be a priority, and kind of learning what you can do to feel supported in yourself. And like I said, the Strength card that we had earlier is all about self-reliance and tapping into your inner wisdom, your inner knowledge, and strength, literally. When you do that, I feel like you're going to realize how powerful you really are. And you are going to be so full of love for yourself that it's just going to radiate outwards, and your entire life will be defined by that love. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about that. I think that this year you will develop a lot of love for yourself, and that leads to abundance and feelings of security and strength. Basically, these two cards take time to take breaks, and that is a really important way to show yourself love and allow your love for yourself to develop this year. Next, I have 3 cards from my Inquire Within deck. I have Finding Balance, taking time off, taking breaks, Clarity of Mind, and Love Your Dark Side Too. Ooh, okay. So with the Justice card earlier, I did talk a little bit about maybe reconciling with parts of your past, or setting boundaries or rules around, I allow these types of conversations but not these, and I will spend this much time with this person but no more than that, or I will not talk to this person at all because it's not good for me. And with this kind of reconciliation and going back through your past and unpacking past patterns or coping skills or whatever, I feel like this journey you're on this year, this journey to being drunk with love, is not always love and light. And when you get to know yourself, you will find ugly things that you don't necessarily like. And so this card, the Love Your Dark Side Too, really just wants to remind you to love and embrace everything that comes up, even if it's not cute, even if it's not pretty, even if it's challenging or wears you down in some way. It's important to love that side of yourself too, because it makes up who you are. And it's okay to change these parts of yourself. For example, if you realize that you're not a very good listener, and when others are talking about something that you're not interested in, you zone out, it's okay to work on that part of yourself and develop it, but don't write it off as oh, I'm a bad person because I'm not a good listener. Acknowledge it, appreciate it, thank it for existing as it is, love your dark side too, love that part of yourself, and then work on improving it. That's just one example. I'm not saying that relates to you specifically, but yeah, as you go through this year, love your dark side too, love the shadow sides of yourself as they come up. Next, we have the Finding Balance. As I mentioned many times already, this year is going to be intense for you. Intensely good, intensely bad, I can't really say, but we have a lot of very dynamic cards, a lot of major arcana cards. And so as we go through this year of shifts and growth and kind of stepping into your power, make sure you find balance. And with the Slow Down to Relax card, this could literally be making sure that you take time for yourself, take time for self-care, to take breaks or whatever. Or this could be finding balance in the time you spend alone versus the time you spend with other people. Making sure that you're not retreating too much, but also making sure that you're not spending too much time with other people and not enough with yourself. And third, we have clarity of mind. And I think that this card is just a reminder to stay clear and stay focused on what you want. Be very clear in the boundaries that you set. Be very clear in your intentions for this year. And yeah, basically don't get too caught up in the stories. Remember to see things as they are, not the way that you want them to be, and just stay present. Basically the message of that card. I feel like this reading is getting a bit long, so I'm going to wrap it up quickly. For our last cards, these are from my astrological oracle deck, and these are 4 zodiac signs. So these could either represent people who will be significant in your life this year if they have planets in these signs, or these could be times of the year that are especially potent for you. So first we have Leo, and then we have Cancer. Okay, so summer's gonna be big for you. Pisces and Sagittarius. You can always Google these dates later, but basically from June 21st-ish until August 23rd-ish, that will be big for you. Also, February 18th or 19th until March 21st, and then November 21st through December 21st. Those times will be more significant for you. I'm not saying that they will be good or bad. They will just be more noteworthy perhaps than the rest of the year. Or this year you may find yourself more drawn towards people with Leo, Cancer, Pisces, or Sagittarius placements, especially Sun, Moon, and Rising. They may help you out in your journey. They may kind of come as a test, like I was saying with the Justice card. But yeah, these energies of these 4 signs will be very prominent this year for you. So pile number 2, I think that's all for your reading today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you have a lovely 2021 year ahead. If you did enjoy this reading, please leave a thumbs up and a comment, and subscribe down below if you aren't already. And yeah, I will see you in another reading very soon. Bye! Hello, pile number 3. If you picked the cards with the orange calcite on top, this reading is for you. Alright, pile number 3. So this year, I do see a lot of good things coming for you. Obviously, like elephant in the room, we have the 3 of Swords. So that shows that at some point in this year, you may suffer some sort of loss or undergo some sort of painful lesson. However, I feel like this is pretty minor in comparison to everything else. And I'm not trying to spiritually bypass or, love and light this. Be aware that sometimes, love starting out on a negative note, but be aware that at some point during your 2021, you may experience some heartbreak, some sort of loss. It won't be the main focus of the year. However, it may still be present. So getting that out of the way, let's talk about the really positive things that will be happening for you this year. These 2 cards both signify new relationships, new love coming your way, and new beginnings in that realm. So if you're not already in a relationship, you may get into a new relationship with this year, or at least be open to that possibility and kind of learn from, dating, getting to know new people, etc. But to go back to the beginning of 2021, we have the Star. And the Star is really about clarity, kind of getting like, a light bulb moment of a switch going on, and it's like, oh wow, this is where I'm meant to go. And this clarity could lead you to a new career. It could lead you to some insight about relationships. It could lead you to some awareness or introspection and like understand your psychology a little bit better. But in one way or another, at the beginning of this year, I do see you getting some clarity and maybe getting a better sense of where you want to go in life, what you want your future to look like, or just like generally getting to know yourself better of who you truly are. Also, the Star can refer to our dreams, and so I see you maybe tapping into your dreams a little bit more this year instead of kind of following the path that you think that you're supposed to go on or that you've been told is right. Maybe taking a step and going down the path that you want to follow. And even if it seems a little bit outlandish and a little bit unrealistic, I do see you following your dreams in some way, which is always wonderful. And then we have the 6 of Pentacles, which is about abundance and prosperity, specifically related to financial matters. And this card is so beautiful because it's about security and stability within yourself and having enough that you can give to other people. And obviously, since this is the Pentacles card, this is more so related to financial matters or physical or career, having enough that you can gift to others. However, you can think of this in emotional terms as well, having a cup that is so full of love. Basically the opposite of that saying you can't pour from an empty cup. Your cup is overflowing with love, and because you have so much abundance within yourself, you are able to give it to other people. And so I'm getting the sense that this dream that you have at the beginning of the year, again, it could be a career dream, it could be a personal dream, a creative passion, whatever. I feel like when you follow that dream, you will reach this place of abundance where you will be able to share that light, that knowledge, that love, those gifts, whether emotional or financial, with other people. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing with these two cards, is a dream that you're having at the beginning of this year that will kind of strike you. It'll be some inspiration that may come to you quite suddenly, and it is a really good path to follow. And then we have the Ace of Swords, and I mentioned earlier that the Ace of Swords can indicate new relationships. It can also indicate a new job, or it could just indicate clarity. And I feel like this year is going to bring you a lot of clarity as I'm speaking with these two cards, because you're going to get a really clear sense of what you want out of life, and also lessons maybe in relation to other people of, I don't like people who have these value sets, or I tend to get along with people who align with these values that I have, or people who act like this don't make me better as a person. And I'm really focused on blank in my life, personal development, physical health, whatever, and I wanted to surround myself with people who also have those goals and values and interests. Again, this could be anything, but I really do get a sense that you're gaining some clarity this year about who you are, who you want to be around, and what you want out of life. And this clarity is strengthening for you. As we can see with the Six of Pentacles, this clarity does give you a stronger sense of self and makes you a better person as you navigate the world, because you're not pretending to be someone else. You're not, kind of being a doormat, which I use that phrase in a different reading already, but you're not allowing people to kind of walk over you. You're setting secure boundaries because you are clear on what you want and what you expect from other people. And then the Page of Cups, in addition to representing love, like I mentioned before, can also signify creativity and kind of tapping into your creative side a bit more. And with the Star, which represents kind of dreams and visions, I feel like this year you may be tapping into your creative side, and you might be a person who thinks like, I'm not creative at all, I'm not very good at making art, so I'm not creative. But I feel like you're going to figure out some ways to express your creativity this year that bring you joy and follow this like newfound sense of self. And there are so many ways to express creativity beyond the very conventional methods of like playing music or writing poetry or drawing or painting. But in some way you will show your creativity this year, and it will bring a lot of joy to others in the world. Basically this year I see you having a lot of new beginnings because of the new insights you've had. And maybe you've been meditating, like either literally or just generally kind of introspecting a bit more in 2020. And I feel like all of the inner work that you've been doing in 2020, or at the very least having spent more time alone in 2020, you have gained some new wisdom and some new insight, so that in 2021, when you're able to resume normal life, you will go through it with this kind of new sense of self, this new sense of what you want out of life, and knowing who you want to align with to get there. So with the Three of Swords, as I mentioned earlier, I really think that this is a lesson of some sort that you're learning this year, because with the Ace of Swords and the Page of Cups, I feel like you're beginning a lot of new things. You're kind of trying some new things out, trying out new careers, new relationships, new hobbies. And it's really exciting in the beginning with a lot of these things. New relationships are always really fun and like intriguing, all of that. New hobbies are really fun when you're just getting started. New jobs, there's kind of that novelty that's makes them very enjoyable. However, I feel like you're going to be trying a lot of stuff and maybe you won't stick with all of it. And that's okay. Like for example, going back to the creativity thing I mentioned with the Page of Cups, maybe you try painting and drawing and you buy a guitar and you take a poetry class, and you kind of invest a lot of money into all of these things. And then after a couple weeks, you realize, I actually don't really like painting that much. Or writing poetry is a lot harder than I thought, and I don't really want to put the work into that. And so then this Three of Swords is kind of just representing like the cutting away, because it's a swords literally, of this didn't work out, this wasn't for me, whatever. However, this doesn't mean that like all is lost. It just is kind of a refining tool, because as you try out all these new things in the year, it gives you more clarity and wisdom. I know we talked about clarity before, but this is a different type. This is a more refined and wise type of clarity of learning, like, okay, I've tried all these things. I decided I wanted to be more creative this year, and I am actually really good at drawing, and I really want to focus on drawing. And because I've cut away all these other distractions and learned like what works for me and what doesn't, now I can really put a lot into pursuing this one hobby that I really do enjoy. So yeah, that's basically what the tarot cards are saying. I feel like you're going to be trying a lot of new things this year. Not everything will work out necessarily, but you may pick up a few new hobbies, or maybe start a new relationship or a new career that really fulfills you, because you kind of went through that trial and error of trying a bunch of things and learning which ones worked for you and which ones didn't. So grabbing a couple more cards, these are from my Goddess Oracle deck. All right, up first we have Yi. I think I'm pronouncing her name right. I'm so apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong. We have the White Buffalo Catwoman, and then Ma'at. So starting with Yi, she is the Aboriginal Australian sun goddess. And in their mythology, she is credited with bringing the sun and all that it represents to the earth. And the sun, of course, represents life and light and clarity and warmth and all of these things. And although in tarot there is a definitive sun card, the sun is ultimately a star. And so I think that these two cards are really like reinforcing the messages of each other. And Yi is really here to remind you to tap into your inner light, tap into your inner wisdom, and trust the light that is guiding you, because it will ultimately bring you life and joy and abundance. I feel like these cards are offering a lot of new opportunities, and it's up to you to take them, and up to you to be brave and bold and follow this path that is calling to you. It's not always easy, it's not always glamorous, and it's not always conventional. However, if it's your path, then it's your path, and that's where you're meant to be. So with Yi and this like almost love and light ideology that comes with the sun, the White Buffalo Catwoman really wants you to stay grounded in what is, and also stay humble, like not getting too caught up in your ego, in your sense of self-worth and attachment to certain hobbies or interests or titles that validate who you are or make you seem more impressive. Rather, stay humble with what is, knowing that mistakes happen, loss happens, and there are painful and awkward moments in life. And really just to show gratitude and thanks for every moment that you are alive and that you are present, and that it's okay to make mistakes. Like I said with the Three of Swords, at the end of this year, I really feel like you're going to learn a lesson, whether it's about overwhelming your plate, having too many things on board, or learning what you're actually good at and where you should be spending your time versus where you have been spending it, or loss of some kind. There will be a lesson at the end of the year, and the White Buffalo Catwoman really wants you to show gratitude and just understand that it's gonna happen and it's okay. Not everything can be as brilliant and wonderful as the sun. However, it's still really important to show gratitude and accept. If nothing else, just accept. This is the way it is right now. I'm experiencing a low point, or I'm experiencing some pain, and that's okay. And just staying present and grateful for it all. And then finally, we move to Ma'at, which again, I apologize if I'm pronouncing incorrectly. And her message is fairly obvious, message of truth, being authentic to who you are. That's a really important lesson for you this year, I think, because you are gaining a lot of clarity, you're gaining a lot of insight about yourself, a lot of wisdom, kind of refining your character and learning, I do like this, or I don't like this. This hobby brings me joy, or this hobby creates a lot of stress in my life. This career is good for me, this one isn't, etc. And this card is really reminding you to check in with yourself, really be true to who you are, and understand that being authentic to yourself is more important than anything else. With the Star card and with Yi, you are finding your path this year, and it's really important that you stay true to who you are on this path. I feel like that one is pretty self-explanatory. Just be honest and authentic when you are representing yourself. All right, next I have 2 cards from my Sufi Wisdom deck. So we have Open Mind and Energy of Love. Oh, this card's a little bent. I love that these ones are so cool toned after our last few cards have been very warm toned. It's a really good balance. So the Open Mind card, replace the old cycle with a new and exciting one. Like I said at the beginning of this year with the Star card, you are experiencing some sort of clarity in your life, kind of this new awakening of understanding like, this is actually what I want to do with my life. And previously I may have not been following that, but this is where I want to go. And that is really valuable. It's important to have dreams and important to have a sense of purpose or where you want to go in life, or at least a general idea of what you would like to achieve or whatever. However, this card wants you to keep an open mind because things may appear in unlikely places and your dream may not actually look like you think it might. For example, like I was saying with the creativity earlier, there are a lot of different ways that we can express creativity. Maybe you won't be good at painting, but you'll be really good at writing poetry. And so this Open Mind card is really important to remind you that things may look a little bit different on your path than you intended them to be, but as long as you're being authentic and true to yourself and keeping an open mind, you will ultimately get to where you're supposed to go. There may be trial and error, but just keep an open mind and be willing to try any of it. The subtext says, replace the old cycle with a new and exciting one. There are going to be new things coming into your life this year, so just keep an open mind and a willingness to try each of them. And then we have Energy of Love. Behold the world through the eyes of love. As I mentioned earlier, we have 2 cards that do signify the beginning of a new relationship. So this card could represent you at some point in this year, kind of in that like starry-eyed view of the world that you get when you're falling in love. And this might be a literal representation of behold the world through the eyes of love. You might look at everything through rose-colored glasses because of a new romance or a new friendship that is so fulfilling and wonderful. And if that doesn't happen for you, it's totally okay too. This is a general reading, so that message may not apply to some of you. It may apply to others of you. But this energy of love is really, again, just showing gratitude and being present and just like feeling so, like the White Buffalo Calf woman, just being so reverent for what is. Just even like the smallest things, like, wow, look at that tree growing. It's doing such a great job of growing. Or look at the way the sun is shining. Or look at like the stars at night. Even the most mundane things, I think that gratitude is a choice. Viewing the world through the eyes of love is a choice. And it's a really important choice to make to bring more fulfillment and enjoyment to your life. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing with these 2 cards. As you go through this year, remember to keep an open mind, be open to new experiences, to new possibilities, as long as it feels safe and appropriate and doesn't like break your boundaries or anything. And also bring an energy of love, of gratitude, of enjoyment and appreciation into everything you do. All right, my camera stopped recording, so I have to go back a little bit and start fresh, which it's fine. Anyway, I think I was done with this section of the reading, so I'm going to jump right into the cards from my Inquire Within deck. First, I have You Are Always Shifting. We have Cultivating Stillness and Take a Field Trip. So the You Are Always Shifting card, this year, like I've said, I feel like you're experiencing a lot of changes, a lot of new opportunities are coming into your life, and a lot of chances to change, grow, and develop. And sometimes that can be really uncomfortable. They're called growing pains for a reason. And this year, I think it'll be a really important lesson for you to learn that it's okay to shift, it's okay to change, and it's okay to leave behind identities that you previously held. For example, if you used to be really into a certain hobby and it's just not bringing you joy anymore, it's okay to shift. Your identity is not attached to that hobby. It's okay to let people go, and it's okay to step into your own power even if other people are uncomfortable with that. You don't want to be the same person for your entire life, so it's really good, crucial even, to grow and develop and shift. So yeah, this year, be aware that you're going to change and it's okay. Next, we have Cultivate Stillness, and this card is really interesting with the rest of this reading, which is very much action-oriented, like new opportunities, go for this, grow, develop, advance. And this card, I think, is really just reminding you to bring it back into balance. It's okay to spend a lot of time growing and developing, but make sure that you also take some time to rest and reflect and kind of process and integrate those lessons. Because when you're growing and developing and learning, it's really important to take that time to slow down and kind of like process what you've learned. This year, you're going to be taking in a lot of information if you have an open mind and are focusing on the truth and being grateful and being present. There will be a lot going on, and so this card really is just about taking some time to slow down and be still. This card also always reminds me about meditation, so maybe this year pick up a meditation practice if you don't have one already, and that could be really important for you to cultivate stillness, learn how to be present more, and learn how to be okay with what comes up as it does. And then finally we have take a field trip, and I love this card so much. Field trips to me signify two things. The first is getting out of the classroom and getting out of the setting that you've always done something in. So for example, if you have always done things in a certain place, for example, you've always studied in your bedroom and it's not working for you, maybe try studying at your dining room table or at a coffee shop when it's COVID safe, of course. This could also be going to places where there are like-minded people, or the things you want to learn about are just kind of in the air there. For example, with all the creativity things, let's say that you want to pick up poetry, you want to be better at writing poetry. Go to like open mic nights, go to like poetry readings, learn more about poetry, read it, and kind of put yourself in places where you'll be surrounded by that, because you're going to learn more through experience and through doing and kind of having that hands-on experience rather than just reading about it. So this year I really encourage you to go out and try the things you want to try firsthand rather than just sitting home and like passively trying to learn about them, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's what those cards have to say. To finish off this reading, I have 4 cards from my astrology oracle deck. These are 4 zodiac signs, and these zodiac signs will represent people in your life who may have these placements, who may be significant or important this year, or the zodiac sun sign seasons that may be more potent or more significant for you. So we have Aries and Gemini, and then we have Virgo and Scorpio. Okay, so we have the 2 Mercury ruled signs and then the 2 Mars ruled signs. So maybe just be aware that this year Mercury retrogrades might be a little bit more important for you or more significant. We don't have a Mars retrograde this year, but Mars transits, you might feel them a little bit more strongly. But yeah, like I mentioned, these 4 signs represent people who might be more important, and not important in a good or bad way. I'm not attaching any judgment, but they will play a more significant role in your life this year. Or these seasons. So Aries season is from March 21st until April 21st. Gemini season is from May 21st until June 21st. Virgo season is from August 23rd-ish to September 23rd-ish. And then Scorpio season is from October 22nd-ish until November 21st. You can always Google these later, but just to give you an idea right now, in 2021, these seasons are going to be the most significant for you. And again, they might be transformational, they might be devastating, or they could be times of growth and abundance and just like a lot of learning and development. So yeah, that is all I have for this reading today. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe if you aren't already. And yeah, I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!